I'm here to talk about the all-new Synapse, our bike for the endurance race category. We've designed the entire line, the high mod, the carbon, the alloy models, all of them, all fully revamped for the modern endurance rider. We built this bike for those who live to go hard, ride far, and return home at the end of the day with nothing left in the tank but the glow of a ride well ridden. For them, we've designed a bike that embodies the essence of cycling. We've combined true race performance with a position that encourages excess, wide-ranging endurance capabilities, and a micro-suspension system that insulates but does not isolate, protecting you from the bumps yet still keeping you connected to the ride experience. This is true endurance machinery. This is the all-new Synapse. We know that a lot of riders appreciate Synapse for its ride quality, and we didn't want to sacrifice anything. So our engineers have maintained the compliance or the smoothness that you're used to, and we've gone to a 25.4mm Save seat post. We have our Save micro suspension system engineered throughout the frame. We also wanted to increase the capability of this bike. Previous Synapse had clearance for 28mm tires, maybe a little more if you're willing to push it. And so we've designed the new bike to accommodate up to a 32mm measured tire. That's a great size for multi-surface riding. The bike also has full coverage fender compatibility. The mounts are really discreet. They're located on the inside of the fork blades, and on the rear they're on the inside of the seat stays. And we include a removable seat stay fender bridge, so it's a very clean look if you decide to not run fenders during the dry months. We've also gone to through axles and flat mount brakes on all carbon models. We've designed cable routing to be completely modular, and we've elevated our integration story and designed an intelligent cable port on the down tube that accommodates everything from mechanical to ETAP to Di2. For Di2, it's pretty cool because the junction box actually sits in that cable port. It's no longer strung up underneath your stem, and the rider has full access to a charger and the function button direct from the saddle. It's a really clean way to clean up cable routing. We know that the Synapse rider likes to go hard, whether they're chasing their friend to the top of the next climb, or they're trying to beat a PR from last year's Grand Fondo or Sportif. So we've really focused on increasing the performance characteristics of this new bike. We've shaved 220 grams off of the high mod frame, bringing the frame to 950 grams. At the same time, we've really ramped up stiffness in this bike to levels near Evo to instill a little bit of that liveliness and responsiveness that you would expect in a modern day endurance race bike. This bike is significantly stiffer than its predecessor, and we've designed some purposeful asymmetric qualities into the frame to balance things like pedal loads and disc brake loads, which ultimately increases lateral stiffness and vertical compliance. What that means for the rider is that the bike feels more sound, solid underneath them, and at the same time, it's a little smoother. Speaking of the frame, we've taken what we've done for years, changing tube diameters and layup to create a consistent feel across sizes, and we've taken that a step further by varying head tube and steers to create a consistent ride feel across the entire size range, whether the rider is on a 44cm frame or a 61cm frame. We've also incorporated size normalized steering, and we've gone to 3 fork offsets on the high mod and the carbon models. Frame sizes 51 and 54 have a 55mm offset, and frame sizes 56, 58, and 61 have a 45mm offset. Now that 60mm and that 55mm fork offset, that's a huge advantage for smaller riders who previously were forced into riding bikes that handled a tad bit slower than the larger sizes because of those increased trail numbers. So we've tailored fork geometry to give those smaller riders a more lively and inspiring ride feel. Stack and reach follows a more logical progression too. The stack is slightly lower than previous model. It's not extreme, it's more of a neutral riding position, not passive by any means, but it does put you in that ideal position to ride longer and go farther. The Synapse alloy follows in the footsteps of the high mod and the carbon models in that we've focused on improving performance characteristics like improving stiffness of the alloy frame. The alloy has the same geometry as the carbon and the high mod models, and we have a similar offset story except on the alloy there's only 2 fork offsets as opposed to 3 like you find on the Carbon and the High Mod. It also has clearance for a 32mm measured tire, full fender and rack compatibility, and we include the same removable seat stay fender bridge that you find on the High Mod and the Carbon models. So if your customer is looking for an endurance road bike but may not be ready for Carbon, then the Synapse alloy is a great bike for them. So that's the all-new, completely redesigned Cannondale Synapse, our bike for the endurance race category. It's anchored on performance, it's lighter weight, it has increased stiffness to help you go faster. It puts you in a position that encourages you to stay out longer because you can ride farther. It accepts a 32mm tire, and it has room for full coverage fenders to increase its endurance capability. And it has a totally integrated SAVE micro suspension system that insulates you from the bumps, yet does not isolate you from the cycling experience. This is true endurance machinery. This is the all-new Synapse.